Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Adam Kiss Show. I've been on a brief hiatus from uploading, but I'm right back now so you can enjoy more great content coming up. Today, I'm very excited to get right into it with a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, which is the idea that a movie doesn't really have to be about anything. Now, this is very contrary to the whole American style of filmmaking, where it's very, in my opinion, plot centric. But then there's a whole other school of filmmaking, sometimes independent, sometimes that's considered more European, where movies don't necessarily have to be all plot centric. They don't have to be really about something, because even when they're not about something, they are still about something. So, I think that that's enough complication for the intro. Very excited to get into it, but before I do, definitely take a moment, subscribe to the channel, hit that like and bell notification so you're updated whenever we upload a new great content just for you, and comment below what other things you'd like me to talk about. All right, so let's get into this immense topic that I'm going to try to illuminate for you. So when I say that movies don't have to be about something, you can take that with a grain of salt, because anything that's a movie is technically about something. There's always something going on the screen. But my point is that there's this trend, and perhaps it's been this way for a while in American movies, where everything is very plot-centric. You just want to know what happens. And it's not fair to say that that's just in American movies. Perhaps I should say that's a fairly mainstream concept, that, the first thing someone asks when you say, oh, I saw this movie, they either ask, oh, who is in it, or what's it about? What happens? What actually happens? And there's certain movies where you kind of, scratch your head and you wonder, oh, really, I guess technically not that much happens. But some of those movies are really my favorite movies, because then you can really focus on the character's inner journey, because that's really what happens oftentimes in those movies. It's, dialogue. Those are often dialogue-heavy movies. There's dialogue between the characters. The characters go on a journey. So the journey of the inner journey of the characters is often much more prevalent than a physical journey that happens, or some physical progression of a plot. This is something that was very common in the French New Wave, in movies like Breathless or Hiroshima Mon Amour, things like that, where, yes, there is a plot in those movies. There's a bare bones plot, but it's not really about the plot. It's about the journey of the characters. It's about what happens in their minds, the progression of the characters, things like that. And, then there is still a plot in these movies. I'm not saying, like, for example, another movie with very little plot would be My Dinner with Andre, which I've seen several times now, or the Before trilogy, Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight. So those are all great examples of those kind of movies where there is a bare bones plot in place. For example, the Before trilogy, it usually takes place in a day, and the characters, it's essentially, those movies are all two people talking, and exploring different facets of the relationship over time in different stages, when they first meet, 10 years later, another 10 years later, all those kind of things. Another one is Cleo from 5 to 7. That's more of a French New Wave-ish. I think that was by Varda. But the interesting thing about that is that just takes place basically almost in real time. So yeah, it's a lot of those kind of movies where there's not really a plot per se. There is, because anything is a plot, essentially. Anything can be considered a plot. Anything can be made a movie of, which is really an inspiring idea for me, that you can make a movie out of anything. Earlier in the video, I mentioned that that's more of an American trend, and that's something I've generally found, although there's obviously more independent movies in America that do away with some of those plot devices, or cliche plot devices. Essentially, when a movie's just more casual and not about something, it is more realistic. Which is a touchy subject for me, because realism, there's different types of realism. And I think that, absolute realism, I think that nobody wants to see that, including me. I think that movies should have a little something unreal about them. I think that David Lean even mentioned something like that, you go to the movies to escape. You don't go necessarily to watch, what Hitchcock called kitchen sink dramas. He famously, in North by Northwest, he was talking to Eve Marie Saint, and he was saying, or it was Cary Grant to him, that, making a movie can be fun like this in a movie like North by Northwest. And she said, no, I kind of like making those gritty dramas. And then one of them replied back that, yeah, but, nobody wants to see that, that they see that in their everyday life, all the misery and stuff. Now, I'm of two minds about that. I love both. I love the escapist entertainment, those kind of Hitchcock movies like North by Northwest. But I also love the kitchen sink dramas of those realistic movies. So I kind of fall in the middle. I like both of them. I like it all. But getting back to the subject, I love movies that aren't really about anything, because those are often the movies that are about the most things. Definitely, as a filmmaker, that's something that I'm interested in myself. And yeah, that was just the brief message that I wanted to impart to you all today. Definitely give the channel a subscribe and comment below what other videos you'd like me to do. Thanks for tuning into the Adam Kiss Show, and that's all, folks.